You open a jar of pasta sauce. Your fingers grip the lid. You twist. Nothing happens. You try again. Harder this time, your knuckles go white. Your wrist strains. And still, the lid won't move. You finally hand it to your spouse, or your neighbor, or your grandchild. They open it in 2 seconds. You laugh it off. I must have loosened it for them. But here's what I need you to hear today. That moment, the one with the jar, it may have just told you something important about your heart. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not trying to scare you. I've been a practicing cardiologist for over a decade, and I've seen this connection in my own patients. Right here in Arizona, right here in Florida, right here in the waiting rooms of America. And today, I'm going to walk you through exactly what your grip strength has to do with your heart, what the research actually says, what the 10-second jam jar test means for you specifically, and what you should do about it right now. Stay with me. This is one of the most important things I've talked about on this channel. Let's go back to the moment with the jar. Most people think weak grip just means you're getting older. Muscles naturally lose strength. That's just aging, right? Wrong. That thinking is exactly what concerns me most about my patients after 60. Here's what most people don't realize. Grip strength is not just about your hands. It is one of the most powerful biomarkers your body has for what's happening inside your cardiovascular system. Biomarker means a measurement that reflects something deeper. Your blood pressure is a biomarker. Your resting heart rate is a biomarker. And now, confirmed by multiple large-scale studies published in peer-reviewed cardiology journals, your grip strength is a biomarker for your heart's health. Let me explain exactly why. Your heart is a muscle. Your hand is full of muscles. And here's the thing that changes everything once you understand it. The same biological processes that cause your hand muscles to weaken are often the exact same processes weakening your cardiac muscle. Think about that for a moment. When the small muscles of the hand begin declining faster than they should, it often mirrors what's happening to the myocardium. That's the heart wall itself. The pumping tissue, the part of your heart that pushes blood out to your lungs, your brain, your legs, your organs. Researchers call this parallel deterioration. The hands and the heart aging together. Not because one causes the other, but because they share the same underlying biological clock. And that clock, for many of my patients, is ticking faster than they know. Here's what the science actually shows. A major longitudinal study, that means they followed real people over many years, found that lower grip strength in adults over 60 was significantly associated with higher rates of cardiovascular mortality. Not just heart problems. Cardiovascular mortality, the biggest category of death in America. Another landmark analysis published in The Lancet, one of the most respected medical journals in the world, looked at nearly 140,000 people across 17 countries. The conclusion was clear. Grip strength was a stronger predictor of cardiovascular death than blood pressure. Stronger than blood pressure. Let that sink in. You've been checking your blood pressure at Walmart. You've been watching the numbers on the screen at your doctor's office. And this entire time, something even more telling has been sitting right at the end of your arm. Now, I want to be very clear with something here. Weak grip does not mean your heart is failing. I need you to hear that. It's not a diagnosis. It's a signal. It's a flag. It's your body whispering something that you would be wise to listen to. And the 10-second jam jar test is how we listen. Here's how to do it. Go to your kitchen. Find a standard sealed jar, pasta sauce, peanut butter, pickles, whatever you have. The lid must be factory sealed, not one you've already opened and screwed back on loosely. Grip the lid with your dominant hand, your strongest hand. Apply steady pressure and try to twist it open. Now pay attention to what happens. If you open it without straining, without pain, without needing to reposition your hand multiple times, that's a good sign. If you struggle, if you feel significant weakness, if you cannot open it at all, that's a prompt. Not a panic. A prompt to have a real conversation with your doctor about something called ejection fraction. Have you ever heard that term? Ejection fraction? Most of my patients in Florida haven't. And I think that's a problem, because ejection fraction is one of the most important numbers for understanding how well your heart is actually working. Here's what it means in plain English. Every time your heart beats, it squeezes. And that squeeze pushes blood out. Ejection fraction is the percentage of blood that leaves your heart with each squeeze. A normal ejection fraction is 55% or higher. That means with every single heartbeat, your heart is pumping out at least 55% of the blood it's holding. When that number drops, when the heart muscle is weakening, the ejection fraction falls, sometimes to 40%, sometimes lower. And here's what's dangerous about that. Many people with reduced ejection fraction have no symptoms. None. They feel tired sometimes, maybe a little short of breath, but nothing that screams heart problem. They're walking around with a weakening heart and they don't know it, and this is where it gets serious. Reduced ejection fraction is a hallmark of a condition called heart failure. And before you panic at those words, heart failure does not mean your heart has stopped. It means your heart is not pumping as efficiently as it should. Over 4 million Americans aged 65 and older are living with heart failure right now. Many of them were not diagnosed until the problem had already advanced significantly. That's what I want to change. Because catching this early, when ejection fraction is just starting to drop, when the heart muscle is showing early signs of strain, that's when we have the most options. That's when medications work best. That's when lifestyle changes make the biggest difference. That's when Medicare-covered cardiac screenings give you the most return. And the jam jar test. The simple, humble jar in your kitchen. That 10-second test could be the thing that sends you to your doctor at exactly the right time. Here's what I want you to understand about why grip strength and heart muscle weakness are so closely linked. Both are affected by a process called sarcopenia. That's the medical term for age-related muscle loss. After 60, the body loses muscle tissue more rapidly than it rebuilds it. This happens everywhere, in your arms, your legs, your core, and yes, in your heart. But sarcopenia doesn't progress at the same rate in everyone. In some people, it is dramatically accelerated by inflammation, by high blood pressure, by poor circulation, by diabetes, by years of sedentary behavior. And those same factors, inflammation, hypertension, poor circulation, are also the major drivers of cardiac muscle deterioration. So, when I test a patient's grip strength and find it significantly lower than expected for their age, I'm not just thinking about their hands. I'm thinking about what those hands are telling me about the whole system. Many of my patients ask me, can I just take a supplement to fix this? They've seen the Costco shelves. They've seen the ads. CoQ10 magnesium, fish oil. And while some of these have real supporting evidence for heart health, they are not substitutes for knowing your actual cardiac function. Write this down. The number that matters most here is ejection fraction. Ask your doctor, what is my ejection fraction? If they haven't measured it recently, ask them to. A standard echocardiogram, an ultrasound of your heart, is covered by Medicare for patients with appropriate indications. It's painless. It takes about 30 to 45 minutes. And it gives your doctor a direct window into how well your heart is pumping. if your grip strength concerned you, if that jar didn't open. Ask for this test. Now, let's talk about the other signs that often travel together with weakening grip strength. Because grip strength rarely shows up alone as a warning. Your body usually sends multiple messages at once. The first is fatigue that feels different. Not the tiredness of a busy day, a deep, persistent tiredness that doesn't fully resolve with sleep. You wake up and within an hour or two, you feel exhausted again. That kind of fatigue in a person over 60 can be the heart struggling to maintain adequate output. The second is shortness of breath that comes sooner than it used to. Maybe you used to walk to the mailbox without any issue. Now you're breathing harder halfway there. Maybe you used to climb one flight of stairs and barely notice. Now you need to stop at the top. Changes in exercise tolerance, even small ones, are worth taking seriously. The third is ankle swelling in the evenings. Press your finger into the soft tissue just above your ankle. Hold for 5 seconds. Release. Does the indentation stay? Does the skin feel puffy and tight? Ankle swelling, what doctors call pitting edema, can be a sign that the heart is not pumping efficiently enough to clear fluid from the lower extremities. If you have weak grip and any one of these 3 symptoms, this is critical. Do not wait for your next scheduled checkup. Call your doctor this week. Tell them exactly what you noticed. Tell them about the jar test. Tell them about the fatigue, the shortness of breath, the ankle swelling. A good physician will take that seriously. And I want to address something that I hear from patients constantly. My doctor only has 15 minutes with me. They won't have time. Here's what I tell my patients in Arizona. You are the advocate for your own health. You walk in with specific, clear language, and a doctor cannot dismiss it. Say these exact words. I've noticed a decline in my grip strength, and I'm having some fatigue. I'd like to discuss whether a cardiac evaluation, including ejection fraction measurement, is appropriate for me. That sentence will get attention. Every time. Now, let's talk about what you can actually do right now, starting today, that has real evidence behind it for both grip strength and cardiac muscle health. The first is resistance exercise. I know. Many seniors think lifting weights is for younger people. But study after study shows that even light resistance training 2 to 3 times per week significantly slows sarcopenia and has measurable positive effects on heart function. You don't need a gym. Resistance bands at home. Light dumbbells. Even bodyweight exercises. Start where you are and build slowly. Hand grip exercises specifically are now being studied as a form of isometric training with direct blood pressure benefits. Squeezing a soft rubber ball or a hand grip strengthener for 4 sets of 2 minutes has shown reductions in systolic blood pressure comparable to some medications in certain studies. Your doctor won't say this in a 15-minute appointment, but the research says it. The second is protein intake. Muscle, including cardiac muscle, requires adequate protein to maintain itself. Most seniors are dramatically under-eating protein. The current recommendation for older adults with muscle preservation goals is around 1 to 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day. That's more than most people over 60 are consuming. Greek yogurt, eggs, lean meat, legumes, cottage cheese. These are not exciting, but they work. The third is sleep quality. Deep sleep, stages 3 and 4 of the sleep cycle, is when cardiac repair and muscle rebuilding primarily occur. Chronic poor sleep is now recognized as an independent risk factor for both heart failure and accelerated muscle loss. If you're waking multiple times per night, if you feel unrefreshed every morning, sleep evaluation should be part of your cardiac workup. The fourth is Blood pressure management. Chronically elevated blood pressure is one of the most direct drivers of cardiac wall thickening and eventual weakening. If your blood pressure at home is consistently above 130/80, your heart is working harder than it should, every single beat. Over millions of heartbeats, that extra strain wears down the cardiac muscle. Control your blood pressure and you protect your ejection fraction. Here's what most people miss. There's a concept in cardiology called cardiac reserve. Think of it like this. Your heart has a certain amount of extra capacity. At rest, it doesn't need to work hard. But when you walk fast, climb stairs, get excited, face stress, your heart needs to ramp up. That ramping up ability is your cardiac reserve. As the heart muscle weakens, cardiac reserve shrinks. And the earliest sign of shrinking cardiac reserve is often not a dramatic symptom. It's small things. It's the jar you can't open anymore. It's stopping at the top of the stairs. It's the walk that used to energize you now exhausting you. Small things, quiet things. Things that are easy to explain away. But your body is not trying to trick you. Your body is trying to warn you. I've been doing this for over a decade, and the patients I see who do best, the ones who are still active and strong and clear-headed at 75, at 80, they have one thing in common. They listened to the small signs. They didn't ignore the jar. They didn't wave away the fatigue. They showed up, asked the right questions, and got ahead of it. That's what I want for you. I want you to do the jam jar test this week. Not tomorrow. This week, get a factory-sealed jar. Test your dominant hand. Be honest with yourself about what you feel. And if there's any doubt, if there's any struggle, make the call. Book the appointment. Ask about your ejection fraction. Ask about an echocardiogram. Use your Medicare benefits before you need them urgently. Because here's the truth about heart health after 60. The window where intervention makes the biggest difference is not when you're in the emergency room. It's not when you're already short of breath lying in a hospital bed. It's now. It's while you're sitting here watching this, feeling fine enough to wonder. That wondering is valuable. Don't waste it. Your heart has been working for you every second of every day for your entire life. Every beat of your life. Sleeping, waking, laughing, grieving, walking, resting. Your heart was there, quietly, faithfully doing its job. It deserves the same attention from you. One jar, 10 seconds. And a phone call if the answer concerns you. That's not a big ask. For something as important as this, it's the least we can do. If this gave you something to think about, I want you to watch the video I've linked right here. It covers the 5 silent signs of reduced ejection fraction, things most seniors and even many primary care doctors overlook. Everything in that video connects directly to what we talked about today. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Every week, I put out content specifically for you, for the person who wants to stay ahead of their health, not chase after it. Take care of yourself. You've earned it.